you're quite new to this hobby, what is the best to get? Like, oftentimes, if we're searching for these kind of videos, we don't really have an opinion on something yet. Um, and I guess I'm here to give you that opinion of on what to get as your first whoop and what I felt like was really something that I really enjoyed. So, you know, as a beginner friendly whoop, I would say there are a few things that um, matter a lot when it comes to it. I mean, for people that have flown whoops for a long time, um, weight is a major consideration when you're looking at perhaps the flight time or perhaps the punch. Um, but for beginners, it's slightly different. You are looking for a bit of durability, but at the same time, you don't want to be sacrificing too much power or agility for that durability. So it's quite a hard balance, and it's also a engineering equation of sorts where you're balancing all these things. So um, back a few years ago, it was quite hard to find a whoop that met all these requirements. Some of them either had really brittle frames or really badly designed frames, where for example, well, not for example, but like with this quad, you would have like a really badly made carbon fiber frame at the bottom, and that would snap, and that would be the battery holder as well. So it wasn't really a good time to be a fresh FPV pilot. So that brings me back to the topic here. What's really good for FPV pilot who's new? So I think, to be honest, like durability is gonna come first. If something keeps breaking after a few flights or even after the first flight and you'd have a major crash because you forgot to put some settings, um, I would say that would be a quite a quite a quite a sad kind of experience. And I if I think about it from someone that's not too interested, who is not like 100% sold on the sport yet, and then you go out and fly and it just smashes itself into the wall when you expect it to do some cool thing like go around furniture, but you just smash in the wall and it breaks. It's not going to really inspire confidence. So I think going for something that is durable is definitely going to be the main thing that really steps up your hobby. You're going to be more willing to take chances, um, do more speedy stuff, just generally have a better experience entering the sport. So to my topic um, here, um, what's a really good beginner drone to start off with? To be honest, like I haven't really tried like the Emax, Tiny Hawks, or would you say the Fractal or the newbie drones and such. Um, but just trying, between the Mobula models, the iteration starting from Snapper 6, Mobula 6, Mobula 7 1S and such, 2S. Um, I felt like the most recent iteration, the Mobula 7 ELRS here, has taken significant steps in um, improving durability and improving that beginner friendliness for micro whoops and putting it at a very affordable price point as well if something ever happens. And on top of that, I would say they did put like, not premium top of the line. They did select a lot of good parts and put a few good considerations when building this. So, why the Mobula 7? So, I mentioned that whole equation of balancing everything, the durability, the flyability, and such for a good experience. The Mobula 7 really captures this. It doesn't really go overboard with the motors. The motors are here 0802 20,000 kVs, just right in the middle for 1S motors. And I feel like they output, I guess, decent power. There's still some like quite heavy wobbles when you're trying to come out of heavy like dives. Um, but in general, if you're quite skilled at it, it does go away. Um, but you know, with that said, pulling out of dives, it does still achieve a 4 or 5 minute flight time if you're going at it quite casually. Um, and even if you go at it quite aggressively, I would say it's 3.5 minutes or so. Definitely quite good flight times as well. You could always go into and change it to Blue Jay 96 kilohertz, but it does feel quite floaty. Um, the responsiveness, I would say, it does feel a bit slow. Maybe it's my tune here. Um, but yeah, in general, it's really well built. A few reasons why that is. The shell, I mean, the frame itself, it's not like the other Mobula shells that I've used in the past. It's a lot more, how would you say, bendy? Takes a lot more shock. So I've flown this pretty much exclusively inside the house with a few, outside flights. I've never smashed a whoop around harder than this one, and as many times as this one, and still have it fly. And the only real damages here, I would say, are like a slight crack here, and maybe like a few dings on the antenna. But generally speaking, like, it's held up really well, and it just gives me a lot of confidence to chuck it around the house, smash it on the walls or something, do something weird with it. And on top of that, like, once it does get worn out, inevitably, um, I find it also quite good as a canary. I mean, if you get the concept of canary in a coal mine, I like to send out my poor Mobula 7 here as a canary first on some more long range whoop flights just to test out VTX range, wind, and if I lose it, I lose it. Like, back to the point of it being really accessible and cheap. This cost me 520 yuan, uh, quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit more like cheap than I've seen in the European or Western markets. But comparatively against other quads in on Taobao, where I buy from, it's a lot cheaper and cost efficient. So back to the design of it, like why it's so cost efficient outside of it being 520 yuan. The motherboard itself, it's fully integrated with the VTX and the receiver, which really does bring down the weight overall. I can't comment on repairability, but I haven't had it break on me yet, so maybe I'll keep you guys updated on that. But outside of that, we also have the camera, which is also the, I think, Cadex or Runcam Nano? Yeah, just the lightest one that we have. Um, Bringing it all together, we just have a really light package with the Mobile 7. Um, Durable light package. So back to that equation, it just balances the whole thing very effectively when it comes to not breaking itself due to its weight. If you guys get what I mean. So yeah, here's some flight footage of me flying around.